She's on her knees in the middle of a dark field. No one around, just silence and someone standing behind her. Gunshots echo one after another, and within seconds, it's over. Her body is left there, like no one will ever find it, like the night itself will just disappear. But the most disturbing part isn't how she died, it's what led up to it. An evening that started like any other night at a bar, familiar faces, conversations, drinks, and someone she chose to trust. Someone who had been lying from the very beginning. Someone who kept changing their story again and again. And the question that still lingers, what really happened that night? And when did everything start to go wrong? In the summer of 2011, 23-year-old Deline Carlson moved from her small hometown in Idaho to Stockton, California. She was athletic, outgoing, and adventurous. The kind of person who loved snowboarding, fishing, hiking, and taking long walks with her dog, Maddie. Deline moved to Stockton to live with her aunt and cousin. She came with a clear goal to build a future for herself. After years of saving money from different restaurant jobs, she enrolled at San Joaquin Delta College to study child development. With a few months left before classes began, Deline spent her time meeting new people and exploring the city. Her cousin Cecily was usually right there with her, showing her around. But on August 6th, 2011, Deline decided to go out on her own. Cecily was sick with a fever that day, but Deline still wanted to get out of the house. She had already made new friends, and being confident and independent, she didn't mind going to places she was already familiar with. One of those places was Finnegan's Bar and Grill, a spot that had quickly become her go-to for a night out. That evening, the 23-year-old got ready and said goodbye to her family. As she was heading out the door, her Aunt Maggie called after her. "Be home no later than 3 a.m. Deline agreed and headed into the night. But 3 a.m. came and went. Soon it was 3:30, then 4. Maggie was still awake, texting Deline trying to make sure she was okay. Hoping her niece had simply stayed over at a friend's place, Maggie tried to get some rest. But with every passing hour without the sound of the door opening, she kept waking up, tossing and turning. Then the sun came up, and with it, the worry grew. If Deline had stayed with friends, she would have found a way to charge her phone to reach out. Sometimes you just feel when something isn't right, and this time something was very wrong. Maggie started calling friends, one after another, before finally dialing 911 to report Deline missing. Just a few months after moving to a new city, the 23-year-old had vanished without a trace. Technically, it was still too early to file an official missing person report, but police documented the call. Meanwhile, family and friends began searching the streets themselves. But as the hot, bright day faded into a cool, dark night, there was still no sign of Deline. The next morning, police officially took over the case. Before leaving the house that night, Deline had asked Cecily to take a photo of her just to see how her outfit looked. Her dark brown hair was down, she was wearing a black and white top and ripped blue jeans. With that, investigators started retracing her steps. The plan for the night had been simple. She was supposed to go to Finnegan's Bar and Grill with Cecily. One of the managers there remembered her well. Deline had been there many times before. He said she spent most of the night outside near the bar, but nothing seemed unusual at the time. A friend had dropped her off, and once she arrived, she ran into her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Jacob Evangelisti. 25-year-old Jacob later admitted, "We weren't on the best of terms. I got there earlier than her on purpose, and she came up to me to talk." He said that just 4 days earlier, they had a serious argument. Jacob had been drinking, and at one point he grabbed Deline's arm when she tried to walk away. He also told investigators he had heard from others that she had been talking to their mutual friend, James Cousins. And honestly, that made things between them tense. Jacob explained that that night, they were both at the bar with a group of friends, but they kept their distance from each other. At the time she disappeared, Deline was living with family and planning to attend Delta College. Meanwhile, her family and friends were doing everything they could to raise money. They managed to collect $1,000, adding it to the $1,000 Crime Stoppers reward for any information. A local semi-pro football team even offered to host a game and raffle to raise more funds. People handed out flyers, searched neighborhoods, looked everywhere for any sign of her. But with every passing day, the situation felt more and more unsettling. Friends later said, "Your mind just keeps running through every possible scenario, and it's exhausting. You don't know what happened, so you start connecting dots that might not even be connected. You try to read between the lines, searching for anything that makes sense. It consumes you. When someone disappears, your mind creates endless possibilities." That night, Deline eventually approached Jacob to talk. He was upset and wanted to fix things between them, but it seemed like she had already made up her mind to end the relationship for good. Jacob insisted that Deline left the bar before he did, and that he didn't see who, if anyone, she was with. His story mostly matched what the bar staff reported. But police said both Jacob Evangelisti and James Cousins were persons of interest in the investigation. Surveillance cameras at the building showed Deline standing outside for a while, smoking, before heading back inside around 12:50. There were a lot of people around. At one point, a man briefly put his arm around her shoulders, then followed her down the hallway. That man was 25-year-old Jason Gilley, another mutual acquaintance. He also lived with James Cousins. Later, Deline went back outside and spoke with Jacob. She looked emotional, gesturing with her hands matching Jacob's account that the conversation between them had been intense. After that, she went back inside while Jacob stayed outside with a friend finishing a cigarette. At 3 a.m, Finnegan's closed, and everyone went their separate ways. Somehow, Deline left the bar without being caught on any surveillance camera. Jacob did too, so the exact time she left remained unclear. Later, Jacob told police that Deline had texted him saying she was leaving the bar to go to a party with friends. After she left, he received around 12 calls from her. During one short call, he heard a man's voice in the background. Deline told him she was drinking at Jason's place. That Jason was Jason Gilley, the same man seen on camera earlier, briefly putting his arm around her. In one of her early morning messages, Deline asked Jacob, "Can I come by later?" He told her yes, of course. But hours passed, and there was nothing more. Jacob fell asleep, and when he woke up, there were no new messages. The next people police wanted to speak with were Jason Gilley and James Cousins. Jason lived in a house with his mother, his grandmother, and James, who was staying there temporarily. James was straightforward. He confirmed that he and Deline had talked, but there was nothing serious between them. They weren't in a relationship. He also quickly proved that he was out of Stockton at the time, on a trip, something multiple people confirmed. Jason, on the other hand, said he couldn't really help. According to him, he and Deline had gone their separate ways at the bar. He said he had offered her a ride home, but had to leave around 1 a.m. after his grandmother texted him that his young son was sick. But Jacob insisted that Deline had told him she was drinking at Jason Gilley's house. Jason's grandmother told police that he returned home alone around 1:30 a.m. After that, Jason pointed detectives back toward Jacob and the argument he had with Deline that night. He said he had seen it himself and that it looked serious. In the end, investigators weren't getting very far. And then a new update appeared in the news.
Also new tonight, the search is intensifying for a Stockton woman who mysteriously disappeared after a night out. 23-year-old Daylene Carlson was last seen on August 7th.
At the start of this case, 3 men talked to police and said they had contact with Carlson the night she disappeared.
We just want her home, safe.
Carlson's cousins held a flyer displaying her photos today. The family has been fraught with worry since Carlson disappeared last weekend. She was last seen at Finnegan's Pub and Grill very early last Sunday morning.
You know, I just want my family to, have peace and get my aunt and get her daughter home.
We hope, there's a hope that, we would love to find her safe, but as time progresses, it looks more grim.
For now, investigators plan to be here all afternoon, and we're told that Carlson moved here from Idaho to start a new life. She had plans to attend Delta College and was living with family when she disappeared.
Unfortunately, investigators had exhausted every lead connected to Finnegan's, so they had to widen the search. They began going door to door, visiting businesses in the area, asking for any surveillance footage they might have. Eventually, they got a break from a 24-hour convenience store. Security cameras showed Deline and a man buying alcohol around 1:30 in the morning. That man was Jason Gilley, the same person who had already told police he went his separate way from her at the bar and never saw her again. Police brought him in for a second interview. Now, it was clear he had lied. They gave him a chance to tell the truth. What time did you get home? Around 1:20, 1:30. And when he repeated the same story, insisting he was already home by 1:30, investigators showed him the footage.
We know a lot more of what's going on.
Right.
Okay?
Wait. I left the bar with Daleen to food fight.
Suddenly, he remembered that they had gone there together to buy some Jaeger. But he insisted that after that, he dropped her back off at Finnegan's and went home. Detectives could tell right away he wasn't telling the full truth. And when they started pushing harder, Jason broke down in tears.
Jason, let's make it better.
Let's make it better right now.
Okay?
Did you guys have sex?
No.
Jason.
Jason,
Jason.
we had sex and we hung out for a little bit more and then she said she wanted to go home.
But according to him, after that, Deline became upset, like she regretted what had just happened. So she decided to walk home. Jason said he followed her in his car, picked her up, and then drove her about 40 miles south, dropping her off at some random location at her request. After that, he said, he went to get gas. He claimed he felt terrible about the decision, and that with each passing day, it weighed on him more and more knowing he might have been the last person to see her alive. According to him, he lied to protect himself, but police had a different feeling. They believed Deline was already dead. And then investigators asked him directly,
Where are we going to find her body?
Help us find her.
Help us bring her home.
Her family deserves it
Do you
too.
have a family? She has a family.
She deserves it. I know that she does.
So let's do anything
Do
for her. Jason.
Don't do this. Please, really.
it felt like they were right on the edge of the truth. But in that moment, Jason asked for a lawyer. Not long after, investigators arrested 25-year-old Jason Gilley for kidnapping and unlawful restraint holding Deline against her will. But they didn't have enough evidence to charge him with murder. Jason denied everything. His mother insisted he was innocent. His family also claimed that Daylin had been at their house with Jason, but left Sunday morning alive and unharmed. Another contradiction. Even though Jason remained the primary suspect in her disappearance, he was released after prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with the kidnapping charges. As the prosecutor explained, it doesn't matter how strong your gut feeling is, you need evidence. And that was the problem. Police needed more. Something solid. Something they could prove. After his release, Jason said he had simply found himself in a bad situation, but that didn't make him a bad person. According to him, it was just wrong place, wrong time. Yes, it looked suspicious, but that didn't mean that's what really happened.
Gilley told KCRA3 earlier this week that Carlson was at his home in those early morning hours Sunday, but left on her own.
He also went to the media, saying, "These past few days have been really hard. I'm just trying to process everything right now. I hope she's found alive. I just wish they would establish the facts before arresting someone. They're questioning my mom, my grandma, everyone. All fingers are pointing at me. I get why. But why am I being accused of kidnapping when I'm not that kind of person? I would never hurt myself or anyone else. Anyone who knows me can tell you that." Surveillance footage from a 7-Eleven showed that around 11 in the morning the next day, he stopped there to get gas. Inside the store, cameras captured him wiping his hands and his shirt. And when the footage was enhanced, it became clear he was covered in dirt. After that, investigators shifted their focus to new search areas, including spots along the Calaveras River places often used for dumping. The area was thick, swampy, overgrown, and just a few blocks from Jason's house.
Police out on the Calaveras River searching for any signs of a woman who disappeared more than a week and a half ago. This is exclusive video from Livecopter 3 HD right over the search. 23-year-old Daylene Carlson hasn't been seen or heard from since August 7th. Police aren't saying at this point what led them to the Calaveras River. The search is taking place just north of the University of Pacific campus. That location just about 2 miles from the Food for Less grocery store where she was last seen, and just 2 blocks from the home of a man who was initially arrested in her disappearance.
25-year-old Jason Kelly, of course, remember, was arrested this week. He was arrested on Monday on charges of false imprisonment and kidnapping. Now, he was released again on Wednesday afternoon, but police say he's still a person of interest. Newly released documents show that police believe Jason Gilly has been lying to them since the first time they questioned him. The documents show that Gilly first told officers he wasn't with Daylene Carlson the night she disappeared. But former boyfriend Jacob Evangelista told police that at 5 Sunday morning, he received a text message. Daylene said she was at Jason's house drinking, but that she would be leaving soon to come to his house. This was the last time Jacob has seen or spoken with Daylene. Gilly later said he and Daylene went to his home, had sex, and then an argument ensued, but he gave her a ride. The report states that Jason got on the Crosstown Freeway and then south on Highway 99 for approximately 40 minutes until stopping at an unknown location where he claims he let Daylene out of the car. And for the first time, we are hearing Daylene's phone send a text message late Sunday morning. At about 11:25 Sunday morning, Gilly's roommate received a text saying Daylene said she was somewhere on Country Club and that her phone was dying. James said he did not know if it was Daylene that was sending these messages, only that they were coming from her phone.
The text message is just that. It's text that come to you, but who's sending that? It could be sent from anybody. Anybody could have had control of that phone and sending those messages.
Search for Daylene Carlson has now lasted more than 7 weeks. Here's a look back. Daylene was last seen August 7th leaving Finnegan's Pub. Then August 15th, police arrested 25-year-old Jason Gilly, who was seen leaving with Carlson the night she disappeared. 2 days later, Gilly was released after the DA decided not to file criminal charges because of lack of evidence. And then on August 18th, search crews looking for Daylene found a flip-flop that may have belonged to her in the Calaveras River.
Holding out hope, but fearing the worst. The family of a missing woman from Stockton spoke to KCRA 3, giving their perspective about the discovery of a body yesterday in rural San Joaquin County and the chance it is their missing loved one.
2 months after she disappeared, a farm worker found Daylene's body while working in a cornfield. By that point, it was so badly decomposed, there was little left but a skeleton. She was naked. She had been shot 5 times from behind. 1 bullet entered the back of her head. 2 more struck her in the back. It looked like, as she was falling, she had reached up toward her head. The scene suggested something chilling, like an execution, as if she had been on her knees, facing away from the shooter. A black bra was found near her body, and a few days later, her jeans were discovered about 6 miles from the scene.
From a missing persons case to a murder mystery.
We have this new at 5. Tonight we now know the body of a woman found this weekend in a San Joaquin County cornfield has been identified as Daylene Carlson. We continue to follow this incoming information in this case out of Stockton.
KCRA 3's Rich Ibarra joins us now from the police department. So Rich, what's next now in this murder investigation?
Well, the identification of Daylene Carlson was made through her dental records, and now investigators will have to see how she was killed and link that with any evidence that may lead to her killer.
Couldn't believe that everything happened the way it did. I thought that she'd turn up somewhere. Glad the family can get some closure finally, but wish it was under different circumstances.
Police said Jason Gilly's statements were full of contradictions. And despite what his grandmother had claimed, his alibi eventually fell apart completely. She later admitted she had lied to police to protect him. On top of that, investigators received a tip from someone close to Jason, someone who said he owned a gun. And that mattered because the shell casings found at the scene matched that weapon. Cell tower data placed Jason and Daylene together in the exact area where her body was later discovered. Investigators were also convinced that after her death, Jason had used Daylene's phone to send messages to other people. Daylene's aunt said, I can't understand how someone could do this to someone who just wanted to be friends. She wanted people to be nice to her. She loved people. She was such a little social magnet. I don't understand why. Honestly, I think he probably started to get attached to her and she turned him down. The prosecutor added that, based on the evidence, Jason convinced Deline to go back to his place after they bought alcohol, likely offering her a ride home. But once they got to his house, things quickly turned dark. Investigators believe he assaulted her, then grabbed his gun, forced her back into the car, and drove her to a cornfield where he shot her. Text messages revealed that Jason had been communicating with Deline far more than he originally admitted. In just 3 days, he sent her around 200 messages. The last ones were sent the very day she was last seen. Over time, the messages became more aggressive, more sexual. He repeatedly asked her to send him her underwear or explicit photos. Deline usually brushed it off, joking, ignoring him, or simply saying no. But he was fixated on her. And investigators said the most likely motive was this: he assaulted her and knew she would report it. The prosecutor argued that he killed her because of that, because he didn't want anyone to find out. Why bring a gun if you were just taking her home? The prosecutor asked. Because you were never planning to take her home. And then another question: what was going through her mind as she was led through that cornfield? According to the prosecution, he forced Deline to undress, to kneel, and place her hands behind her head. At this point, the case was backed by overwhelming evidence. Investigators had compiled over 1,000 pages of material, not even counting the phone records. Jason Gilley was formally charged with the kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder of Deline Carlson. News reports stated,
We're learning more information tonight about the death of a Stockton woman and the evidence against the man accused of killing her. KCRA3's Melinda Meza was in court for the second day of hearings to look at the evidence against Jason Gilley.
Well, court just wrapped up a short time ago on this day 2 of Jason Gilley's preliminary hearing. Now it's up to a judge to decide if there's enough evidence in this case to go to trial. Gilley is accused of murder, rape, and kidnapping of Deline Carlson.
because of the aggravating factors, kidnapping and sexual assault, he was eligible for the death penalty under California law. But there was a major legal complication. In February 2006, the execution of inmate Michael Morales was put on hold after his attorneys argued that California's lethal injection protocol could cause excessive pain, violating the 8th Amendment, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. Morales had been on death row since 1983 for the kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder of Terry Winchell. That decision had ripple effects across other death penalty cases. So the district attorney announced they would not seek the death penalty in this case, but instead pursue life in prison without the possibility of parole, given the level of planning involved. Jason's former best friend, Robert Cousin, said he was disgusted and had completely cut him out of his life. When the media attention became overwhelming, Robert had even let Jason stay at his house for a while, giving him a place to hide from the pressure. A lot of people still defended Jason because he strongly insisted he had nothing to do with the crime. Robert said,
23-year-old innocent woman, she didn't deserve to die the way she did at all.
So why'd you come down here today?
To be honest, I want to watch this step by step. I want to see this man go down for what he did to that girl. I got a 5-year-old daughter at home, so I don't feel any sympathy for him or his family. Anybody who lied for him, anybody that helped him out, I'll feel sorry for you.
How did you know Mr. Gilley?
I've known him for 20 years. He was my best friend. His story's changed so many times. I mean, I don't see how people can sit back and look like, if this guy's innocent, why is he continuing to lie?
Did you have any interaction with him after Deline went missing?
Yes.
Describe that.
He had been staying in my house for a couple weeks, just to get away from it all. People coming by his house, bugging him. 20 years, I was trying to help him out.
How was his demeanor?
Cool, calm, and collected, really.
He wasn't worried?
That's what the eerie part is. Just cool, calm, and collected.
Wasn't worried?
Not at all. It didn't seem like it at all. Sat him down one night and I asked him, did you have anything to do with it? Do you know what happened to her? And he said, no, I don't know what happened to her.
Has the murder weapon been found?
We have no murder weapon. We're well within our right to charge personal use of a firearm. We have ballistic evidence. We don't have the actual, we have not confirmed that we have the actual weapon itself. but there's ballistic evidence. We have a series of facts, forensic and otherwise, that would allow us to deduce one fact, and that the fact is that she was raped. We'll be put to that test at the preliminary hearing and have a judge determine whether those circumstantial evidence shows that or not.
Do you think anyone else was involved?
Nah. In my heart of hearts, I think it was just him.
You said you describe yourself as his best friend for all these years.
Yeah.
Are you supporting him now?
No, I can't support something like that. Can't support it. Just seeing all the facts that are starting to come out, can't support something like that.
As soon as Jason Gilley was transferred from protective custody into general population, that same evening, he was beaten by Deleen's cousin. A little over 2 years after Deleen disappeared, Jason finally went to trial. After changing his story multiple times, his final version sounded like this. He said he left Finnegan's bar with Deleen. They stopped at a store to buy alcohol, and then he took her back to his house where they had sex. According to him, afterward, Deleen became upset and wanted to go home, insisting that he drive her. Jason claimed that during the drive, Deleen called him a piece of trash and even tried to jump out of the moving car, but the doors were locked.
He then dropped her off in Modesto, got back on the freeway and went home.
Well, I can tell you it was emotional for the jury today as they heard closing arguments from the prosecution. But the defense attorney says that cell towers could feed 3 different sites and that all the evidence presented today is circumstantial. Gilley's defense attorney says Gilley did not kidnap, rape, or kill Daleen. He says he admits to lying, but he says he lied to cover up his sexual relationship with Daleen because that would have been inappropriate to other friends.
In the end, Jason Gilley was found guilty of kidnapping and murder. The sexual assault charge ended in a mistrial. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And to this day, Jason has never admitted what really happened that night. Deleen Carlson had packed up her entire life to move and start something new. She had plans, dreams, and she was working hard to make them real. But what should have been a normal night out with friends turned into a nightmare for the 23-year-old. You can only imagine how terrifying her final moments must have been, out there in that cold, dark field, possibly begging for her life, with no one around to hear her or help her. In an interview, her Aunt Maggie said, "This kind of pain never really goes away, but it helps to hold on to the good memories, to remember who she was when she was alive, because what we had with her was truly something beautiful."